we're airborne again. We're leaving Germany for Austria initially, then we're going to fly down through Europe on today's leg of the trip. We're going to try and make it to Africa today. Well, maybe not today, maybe by tomorrow. This is about 1,500 miles. This is not a fast aeroplane. So we're going to be doing this in 3 different flights. We're going to fly down to Sofia in Bulgaria first, and we're going to land there and get some fuel. Then we're going to take off again and fly to the southern coast of Turkey, and we're going to land and refuel there, and then finally we're going to fly mostly over water, crossing Cyprus towards Suez. That's the plan. We're not going to get that done in one day. That's about 10 hours flying time in the Twin Otter. Weather doesn't look too bad, and again we're flying for the moment on the flight plan on the GPS. We've got some rain going on here in this cloud. We're at 5,500 feet for a minute. Now that airport that we just took off from was about 2,000 feet, so we're only 3,000 and some feet AGL. Need to come back a bit on this power. We're over talking at the minute on the engines, so we need to be careful about that. It's kind of cold, so torque's the limiting factor, not the engine. T5s. Oh, I've just noticed something slightly worrying. We've got ice on the windscreen. Just around the rim of the windshield there, you can see we've got ice forming. That's a sign that we're going to have to be careful about icing conditions. So that ice is actually increasing. What we need to do is start to think about, and we're flying in precipitation here, although it's not very obvious, not very intense. Now that means we're going to be picking up freezing rain as well as structural ice. So what we're going to do is turn on our anti-icing measures. First thing we need to do is go for pitot heat, which is up there. We need bleed air, so we can use the de-icing boots. We need the windshield heat is going to be on. What else do we need? So the windshield heat, we should see that ice build up on the screen starts to disappear with the windshield heat. There it goes. Okay, the windscreen's clear now. I think we'll climb a bit more. We're at 5,500. We'll go up to 7,500 feet initially. We'll try and get through this cloud as quickly as we can. Best if we're in clear air. We've got to worry about ice. Now we've got an ice indication. I've got an ice gauge in this cockpit, so that's telling us we've got wing ice. That means we've really got to start to worry, so we need to be looking at other de-icing measures. Well, first thing we want to do is we want to put on de-icing boots to auto, so that should start to dissipate the ice right away. We probably want to put the engine igniters to continuous. If we get an engine flame out, that means the engine will relight automatically. What else do we need? We could put on prop de-ice. Actually, prop de-ice is on already, so that's good. And that's probably all we need for now. So this icing gauge is colour coded. If blue means we've got light ice, that's not going to be too much of a problem. If it goes amber, we've got to worry. And if it goes red, we're going to be kind of into catastrophe. So it looks like we're out of the precipitation and pretty much out of the cloud layer. ish for now. That's we're over Austria at the moment. We're headed for Vienna. We kind of got slightly off track. I don't know what happened. Something I did took us off nav hold. So we're away from the track we planned. Look on the GPS there. So I've turned us back on towards that. I don't know what happened there, but never mind. We're actually heading towards the FMD VOR, which is at Vienna. And as I did before, I'm going to dial that in on nav 2 so we can see it on this instrument here. I'm just going to find out the frequency from the will it show up as the nearest. Do what we did before, we're going to Google that. Okay, frequency 110.4, nav 2, 110, 2, 5, 3, 4. And the ident for that, dot dot dash dot dash 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 dot dot. Nice cloudscape now. Listen to that again. So that's the VR that we need, successfully identified. So we're still over Austria, just had a bit of a disaster with FSX. Everything was starting to lag and none of my controls are working, so I opted to restart and pick up with the FSU IPC autosave. Now that didn't work very well, put me in the right place, but another thing that's happened is the air manager gauges aren't working properly either, so we've lost the attitude indicator, we've lost some of these indicators, we've lost the altitude set. The autopilot panel seems to be working, so that's okay. Vertical speed's working. If I flip over into heading mode, okay, so the heading bug's working, the HSI's working, so that's okay. So that's a simulation of some system failures that might actually happen in real life. So let's get back to that FMD VOR. So that's what we're heading to on the GPS, but if we dial that in on the nav 2, so 110.6, that survived the reboot. I don't think that was it. Try that again. No, that's not right. Okay, maybe it wasn't 110.6. Oh, 110.4. Try that. That's it. So that's the VOR we need. We need to center that up. The 2 indication. So that's got us heading due east. So looking at the flight plan, where are we? We've got 98 miles to go to that VOR. Let me see, so we've got DME2, that should have a DME associated with it. So we've got that on DME2 over here, 96.8. Again, I'm observing that discrepancy between the track on the GPS, we're right on that magenta track, and on the moving map, although it's the same flight plan data, we seem to be off track. So we're just coming up on Vienna, and this is pretty nice It's a little bit clearer here so we can see the ground, and you know, this scenery looks pretty good. This is Orbix FTX Global with open land class EU. Of course, I've never been to Vienna, don't know how realistic this is, but it looks authentic, shall we say. So I guess those are autumn coloured trees down there. Obviously somewhat mountainous here. We're looking down from 10,000 feet. And that's the city itself. I don't know if there's any great landmarks in Vienna that we could be looking out for. If only our geography was more up to scratch. So that's a pretty large water feature ahead. I'm guessing that's the River Danube. And we're just coming up to that VOR, which marks our turning point. We can see that's probably up on the airport. We can see what's probably the international airport straight ahead on the nose. I mean, honestly, we don't really need to go all the way to that VOR to continue en route, but I'm not sure how to skip legs on the GPS. I mean, maybe that's a good experiment. Let's see if we can figure out how to do that. So we're on the flight plan, menu, no options. Flight plan. I guess we could just click to there and click enter. Menu, activate, leg, yeah, activate now. So that's going to cut the corner. Instead of taking us to that VOR at the airport, it's going to cut the corner and fly us straight onto that next leg. So that's LOWW, which is presumably Vienna's, I guess it's Vienna's main airport. Actually, it doesn't look all that big. Okay, we're still en route. We've passed Belgrade now. We're well on the way to Sofia. 105 miles to run. We're just starting to get ice indications again. We're in cloud, even though we're at 10,000 feet. So we've got to make sure we go for our anti-ice measures again. So we've got pitot and prop de-ice. We've got the auto de-ice boots on. Windscreen heat we'll have. So we should be okay. Now the problem is Sofia's, I've just been getting the weather for Sofia, and current live weather, I don't know if you can see that on here. Winds aren't too bad. So current actual weather, wind 3106, visibility 7,000 meters, it's raining, overcast 2,000, marginal VFR. The forecast is not very much different, 340 at 14 knots, 5,000 meters rain, scattered at 1,500, overcast 3,000. We're lucky there's an ILS at Sofia, so we can do an ILS approach to 27, runway 27. That's going to give us pretty much a 10 plus knots crosswind from the right, but we haven't got much choice there. We've got to land at Sofia. Well, we could divert, but we don't have to do that. And we need to get fuel. Now the problem with that's going to be, because I had issues with my instruments not working. The HSI is working, so we're going to get the glide slope, and we're going to get the ILS indicators basically. I don't think we're going to get the indications for capture. I'm not sure about that. I don't think I can test that. So we're just going to have to be careful and see what we can achieve. Hopefully we're not going to pick up ice when we come down through that rain. That's the danger. If we pick up too much of that, we can't shed the ice with any of the de-icing measures if it's freezing rain ice. So we just have to not pick up too much of that. Temperature ground level I think was 6 degrees or something like that, so we should be okay. Once we get low enough we can start to melt off some of that ice. So let's set up the ILS. Oh god, there's something funny happening with my radio tuning as well now. Well, it's kind of working. Oh god, 109.5. And the idents to ISF. I guess we're not in range of that yet. 87 miles. Okay, we're in trouble. My ice indicator has gone critical. Well, not critical, it's gone to amber, and that means that we've got quite significant ice. I'm not sure how that's happened because we've got all the anti-ice stuff going. Well, I hope we have. Actually, we need to put the ignition onto manual. Maybe my switches are not actually working. So I'm climbing. We're over 10,000 feet. We haven't got oxygen, but I've got to climb to try and get out of this cloud. We don't want any more ice. So I'm kind of wondering what to do now. You know, if the boots are working, we should be shedding our ice. It wasn't raining, so we shouldn't be picking up any freezing rain. With this much ice, if I get too slow, I'm going to lose control. That's part of the problem here. Oh my god. So I need to somehow check if those ice systems are working. That's intake anti-ice, we don't need that really. Well, we're out of the cloud layer, that should be okay if we hold this altitude. We're not making such good headway as we were. I mean, we had a ground speed of almost like 200 knots for a large part of this trip. Significant tailwinds. I can see those mountains now, so you know, it's a good job I didn't really try descending in that cloud because we don't have a lot of headroom. You know, that overcast. Right, we're approaching Sofia, or at least the vicinity of Sofia. We're at 12,000 feet. We're heading for. I'm got myself an approach plate. Just rustled this up off the web. I've got this saved in the EFB product from FS Widgets. Now the problem is I've really very little idea how to read this or decode this. This is a Jeppesen chart, which is different to the ones, slightly different to the ones I've looked at before. And I really don't know what I'm doing. But the runway heading's 271 degrees, which is set up on the HSI. Got the frequency dialed in for ILS to runway 27. The airport elevation is about 1800 feet, so I'm going to get down to about 5,000 feet. Overhead, this is the airport, this is the approach track. There's an airport up here somewhere. Oh, LB20, so I'm heading for that now. That's 20 miles away, but we've got to be careful because there's mountains. You can see the mountains poking up out of the cloud here. That's looking kind of dangerous. They're like sharks poking up out of the sea. It's looking fairly bleak. And the other thing is we've still got this ice indication, so So we may have a problem with ice when we get down there.
Lima, Bravo, Sierra, Foxtrot, airport information, Romeo 1030, Zulu, weather, wind 263, at 10,
That's good.
visibility 10, sky conditions, ceiling 2400, broken, ceiling 3300, overcast, temperature 8, 2.7, QNH 1010, advise on initial contact that you have information, Romeo.
So overcast at 3000, that's basically 1000 AGL. So we're going to be flying this approaching cloud, essentially, which is going to be fun if we get it right. It's going to look good, but you know, the chances of us getting it right fairly slender, I should think. 7 miles. I think we're going to start to descend now. Now with this amount of ice load, I think our critical speed's around about 100 knots, so we don't want to, if we get to 100 knots we're going to probably lose control. We're going to hope this ice starts to disappear once we get low enough. Got to use the indications in the virtual cockpit because of the instrument failures. We'll put that at 5,000 feet. Oh, we've got the surface in sight now. We're actually pretty much overhead Sofia here, so. Alright, we don't really need all this shenanigans now because we can see the airport. Just hugging the cloud base here. A little bit uncomfortable. Right, we should be able to select approach mode. We've captured the localizer. And we should be getting the glide slope. There we go. So we're on the approach, 11 miles to run. We can start to slow down. A little bit of Roger maybe at the last minute. Taxiway Kilo.